looks dreamlike.
They rescued 2 out of the back window.
It's hard to tell what's real exactly.
Waking in the midst of the elements, this Montford neighborhood fought rain and flames to find a way out of this crumbling 2-story home.
I woke up at 4, was compelled to pray, and I don't know why. And then 5 o'clock, the sirens started coming, and I counted 12 as I was praying, 12 fire trucks. And so then I knew something serious was happening.
Smoke choking the view until a sigh of relief.
It was terrifying. They weren't sure that Braden was out, but he got out eventually down the ladder, and people were jumping out the window, but everyone's safe, and and that's what's important.
Hugs spread almost as quickly as the blaze. After all, the tenants of this house had only moments to save themselves and each other.
I was asleep in my van, and I woke up, and there was flames coming out of the front porch, and people were yelling, and someone said call 911, so I called 911.
Neighbors narrowly spared from the damage jumped in to help.
And we heard them screaming, so I got up and ran to the front porch of the house, and I looked out and I saw a real bright blaze in front of the house, so I figured it might have been a fire.
With so much fire, we had to protect the other 2 structures.
Firefighters rescued 2 people from the 2nd story.
Because one guy was still asleep and they had to break out the window just to wake him up.
And in a harmony of sorts, neighbors brought those shaken tenants blankets and hot tea, while firefighters, having already saved so much, went back in for the belongings they couldn't leave behind.
We're a community. We always help out. We love each other. We get along over here. Great community to live in.
Everybody is out of the structure.
In Asheville, Hope Hanselman, News 13.
Hi there. You guys coming in to play today? It's $13 each, and then you just play all you want. We've got stuff here that you can't find anywhere else.
I'm really not that great at pinball.
We had the first machine that speaks, we have the first machine that had a superhero theme, we have the first machine that had a lower play field. The ones that we offer, they haven't been in public in, a decade or more.
Sometimes I'm awesome.
On the weekends, we routinely have waiting lists, and from an hour to 3 hours long.
I think it's just random luck.
When they break, my technician, John French, he'll get them up and running.
French fry, French toast, French dressing. When I was a kid, I got to know the gentleman that owned the arcade, and he just let me start fixing switches. And I learned to solder when I was 8 or 9 years old, so it was like, hey, mister, I can fix that for you. No, you can't. Yeah, I can. So he gave me the keys on one, and he let me start fixing them. And where everybody else was pumping in quarters, I had the keys. When I wasn't working on them, I was playing them. And jiggling the balls out of it so that when I put it up, they don't fall back into the back of the machine and make a lot of noise. And there's a lot of wires. I've always worked on stuff, tore it apart, put it together. My wife says that I'm 1 episode away from being on Hoarders, because I've always collected electrical stuff. I went to college. I have a degree in industrial electronics. It's really hard not to play them. I actually got a job in Las Cruces, New Mexico, working for NASA. Worked on Space Station Freedom. Just after the Cold War, we incorporated with Russia, and my little neck of the world just kind of melted. I sure have a lot more fun playing with pinball machines than I do computers. It's real, it's not like a video game.
It's fun and spontaneous.
It's never going to do the same thing twice.
The machine has a mind of its own.
You can get real good, you can set your angles and learn how to hit the ramps and stuff, but there's always a surprise. I have a real job. I guess you can call me a mech-electrician. All right, we got a bat. We make automated systems for the beverage industry. This one's happy. I never dreamed that I would be spending so much time working on these machines.
He's the magic man.
It's alive! Thank God he's got me.
Yeah!
When I got the idea,
TC came to me.
I made a phone call to John.
I want to start a pinball museum.
Ooh, baby.
He says, well, I can't fix them. And he asked me if I wanted to partner up with him.
He said, well, I don't have any money to invest, but I can give you my time.
I never dreamed it would be as big as it is.
He's earned part of the business. He's one of the owners.
I talk to the machines.
Hey, you guys coming in to play?
He talks to the people. Yeah! Together we make a pretty good team.
We've always been Mutt and Jeff.
Parenting is a road trip that never stops.
We were always together.
Portia Devine is driven by her daughter's desperation.
It's pretty rough on her. You okay?
Joni is slumped in her seat. Too often, the ailing 26-year-old ponders the end of the road.
There are days where you're like, when the days that you feel really, really bad, you're like, this could be it.
We had nowhere else to turn.
That's why Portia is in search of solutions.
I'll ride the wheels off of this vehicle if that's what it takes to find her a kidney.
The concern written all over her face is also now written all over the back of her SUV.
I told my husband one day I didn't know what else to do, so I told him, I said, go get some paint.
Joni needs an A or O type kidney. Portia feared the window was closing on her daughter's life.
You don't know. I mean, it's my daughter. She's my only daughter. She's my only child. And I knew her life depended on it. And I didn't know what else to do.
Worried sick, she waits for the call that could be Joni's lifeline.
It was the only other thing I knew to do.
A Facebook post about her painted plea went viral, but 800+ shares haven't been enough.
And I didn't know what else to do.
Unfortunately, Portia is not a match.
When I see her get emotional, then it hits me.
Joni's already had 2 transplants before. She has a rare kidney disease.
I was born with cystinosis. There's about 500 people in the U.S. that have it.
She gets dialysis treatments twice a week. On top of her kidney issues, Joni says her second transplant led to another disease.
From the anti-rejection medicines, I got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
It makes you wonder what more could go wrong. At least the cancer has been in remission for the past 5 years. The transplants she received before were from cadaver donors, so she hopes for an organ from a living donor that could last decades.
When I get a kidney, there's going to be no stopping me, to be honest with you. I'm going to be everywhere, doing everything.
The rolling call for a kidney led to a flood of calls, many of them kind, a few of them disheartening.
We've had everything down from people trying to sell us a kidney. It's unreal.
Portia still hangs on to hope that one person out there could change everything. Sometimes driving out of town just to reach a new audience.
Different people can see the back of my car.
On her worst days, Joni relies on her mom like a GPS through uncertain territory.
She cries in there when I'm not around, I know that. But her strength has kept me strong.
And on the journey that leaves Joni road-weary, there's no one else she'd rather have in that driver's seat.
Gonna be okay.
In Waynesville,
We need a kidney. Her life depends on it.
John Lee, News 13.